rather look at the screen, my presentation slides, than looking at me. Albeit it is nice to see faces around the screen, because obviously it's easier to have a conversation and knock things about a bit. So I'll share my screen. We'll run through the slides. Please do stop if you'd like to ask any questions. We will have plenty of time for questions and then answers after about 30 minutes. And yeah, we'll take your thoughts and we can talk a bit more about the programme. So Circular Economy Innovation Communities is the project that we're currently running, the sort of umbrella project, larger project that we've been running for the last 3 years. That funding comes from at the end of this year. We've had further funding from the Welsh Government to develop and now run the programme that you can see in front of you on the screen, the Foundational Economy Innovation Network. We've called it that because the funding come from predominantly the foundational economy team within Welsh Government. And the foundational economy, for those unfamiliar with the term, is basically the organisations, the businesses that are inherent or fixed within the region that deliver the services, the day-to-day services and products that we all use within a region. So the aim of the Welsh Government in supporting this innovation programme is to support businesses in Wales to develop their innovation capabilities and to help them understand circular economy principles so that they are a more productive organisation. The research shows that the higher the level of innovation capability in an organisation, the higher productivity levels tend to be. And Wales is committed to transition into a circular economy, as you probably know, and hence the reason for Welsh Government wanting to support that. We're running 2 programmes. We'll start in the Cardiff capital region, which will be run by Cardiff Met, as you can see the logo on the bottom, early November, 7th and 8th, and in Swansea a week later. So programmes running across South Wales, and we're comfortable for organisations, businesses to join whichever programme they're most comfortable or they can get to easiest. So that's a bit about the programme. In terms of what we're going to go through today, a little bit on the why, which I've started to cover. Why are we running this programme? Why is it important to support businesses develop their innovation capabilities? What the programme looks like, that's something obviously you're going to want to know. The how we deliver it, we're going to touch on by drawing evidence from previous programmes that we've run. The current programme, as I've just mentioned, the Circular Economy Innovation Communities programme, which we have described and used the term cake. Unfortunately, well, there is actually cake on each of the workshop days often, but yeah, it's about circular economy and it's about innovation. And the important thing is we create communities from the people that engage and participate in our programmes rather than just deliver them academic content, which is interesting. And we're going to do that. We're going to demonstrate that by showing you a couple of videos that both demonstrate the impact that we've supported practitioners, professionals to have in their organisations, and to give you an idea of the innovations, the new service solutions that they've developed. And obviously, there's a Q&A for you to establish what's in it for you, what's in it for me, questions towards the end. But as I say, shout out if you want to contest anything or ask any specific question. So I think it's always good to start off with a summary of what you will get from the programme and what we're aiming to deliver to you. So we're looking to develop and enhance your innovation knowledge and skills, or capabilities is the term often used. We'd like to help you understand the circular economy principles in order for you to be able to leverage and take advantage of what some are terming the green economy. We want to help you develop and understand how to better, maybe, you might already be doing so, secure public service contracts. One of the foundations of foundational economy, and that's the team that are funding this, is having more money spent within a region than you export out of the region. And a lot of this thinking comes from the Preston model, which is Preston have been developing what they call their community wealth building program for about 10 years. And over a 10-year period, Preston have gone from spending about a third of their expenditure and everything, obviously, from buying in education services to building services, repairing windows in their buildings, from a third within the region to 2/3 within the region. So that actually equates to about £300 million more being spent within the region than previously. And so obviously that's the foundational economy is what Welsh Government are trying to do in order to follow that example. And what's key to the programs I've just briefly touched on is us bringing organisations in, bringing businesses in to be part of an open innovation ecosystem. The circular economy and transitioning to a circular economy needs businesses and public service organisations to collaborate, to develop and work across each other in order to develop those circular economy solutions and services. And throughout the programme, we'll introduce you to both funders of innovation and support organisations, some of which you can see dotted around the screen here. RAP Cymru, who can support businesses develop technical or address technical challenges, develop technical solutions for circular economy type applications. Celsius Deal are a partner of ours in terms of supporting what we're trying to do, and they will be presenting on the programme about their circular approach. Euroclad in Cardiff is well similar. They are supporters of ours, and Compass are providing the one-to-one mentoring that you can see on the bottom of the screen there. And that's towards the end of the programme to support you to implement some of the ideas and develop your clean growth plan, whether that be for the organisation as a whole or one of the products and services that you currently deliver. So that's it in a nutshell. I thought it best to touch on the why we're doing this. Some of these pictures are a year or so old. I could fill several presentations with pictures from the challenges that us warming the planet is creating. We've seen wildfires, we've seen flooding, we've seen droughts, all based on the actions of us as a species on the planet and the way that we produce and manufacture goods. And as mentioned, the Welsh Government are supporting this. They're supporting their and trying to realise their beyond recycling strategy, which in essence is to help organisations and businesses transition to a more circular operating model, which was published in 21. Don't think I need to dwell on that. But an important stat that I think is less well understood is that we all understand that burning fossil fuels has warmed the planet and is creating the climate disasters and issues we're facing. And that accounts for about 55% of what we need to understand and reduce in order to reduce the impact on the planet. But about 45% is actually adopting circular economy principles. So stopping our take, make, and then discard, or take, make, waste way, our linear approach to the economy, and developing a far more circular approach where we keep materials, resources in use for as long as possible, because the production process at the moment is incredibly wasteful, both in terms of energy and in terms of the Earth's resources. And moving to a circular economy reduces both carbon footprint, but also enhances biodiversity. We've got serious issues with biodiversity on the planet, which is not helping. So I wanted to make circular economy real, pragmatic, and basically it means making full use of a resource or a material that we've got here. And this particular picture struck me when I was reading an article a few weeks ago, or was it a few months ago? And I thought it was just a great small example. So in Iceland, they had a project that said, well, how can we use as much as possible of cod? That's one of their main products. And in order to think in a byproduct way, in other words, there shouldn't be waste. We should think of all aspects of a material, whether that's a fish or a product, as byproducts and able to use rather than as waste. So you can see the stats there. This picture is great because they are now using fish skins, fish scales for burn victims, and laying that over the skin. That helps the skin repair more quickly, and there's antioxidants in the skins apparently. So I think this is a great example. Obviously as well, products developed from the cod liver and the organs. Some nutrients and vitamin supplements have been developed from the skin and all of the organs of the fish. Bones for soup concentrate and fish oils. And as you can see there, dog snacks and bone meal as well as part of fertilizer. So only 5% of the cod now, where it's processed in Iceland, is wasted. So for me, that is a very practical example of thinking in a more circular or in a circular economy way. Hope that helps as an example, and we can come back to that. But I said I'd go through what our program looks like. I think that's important for you to understand. So as outlined, the aim of the program is to enhance your innovation knowledge and skills. Well, how are we going to do that? We'll support you to develop an output. That output will be a clean growth plan. And in order to win more public service contracts, a fair work plan will help you do that based on the new tendering guidelines that are coming in the next year or so. But we'll do that by introducing you to an innovation framework, an innovation process, which is the design thinking framework, which runs across the middle of these workshop days. So we start off with a foundation day. That's on the 17th in the east and the 19th in the west for this program. We then have a 2-day workshop, which we describe as innovation dynamics. That's to bring you together as a group, but also to introduce you to the fundamentals of innovation. And that's a residential, so the in-between night, obviously, end of day one, you're invited to stay at the hotel where we'll be running the workshop. We then take you through the design thinking process over a period of 5 months. So then after the innovation dynamics, the residential, you have 5 further workshops over 5 months. And we do that day per month so that we can introduce you to tools and techniques during the workshop, which you apply to your context, to your business, and then we invite you, encourage you to go and apply that back in the business, and then come back to us a month later with what you've managed to achieve, talk through what you found challenging, talk through what went well, and for the group to support each other in terms of developing those clean growth plans. And as mentioned, you can use a particular product that you've got or a service, or apply to the organization as a whole. And so the design thinking process involves this 5-stage model of empathy, define, ideation, prototyping, and then test. Okay, so the output for you will be a clean growth plan, and depending on obviously the complexity of the product or the service that you take on, then it might well be in place by the end of the 6 months, or it might be in prototype, in business model canvas, or in a service blueprint position or phase. Those one-to-one coaching that I mentioned that Compass will deliver tend to be towards the end of the program, but you can pull those down as and when works for you. We do have site visits, so any organizations or exemplars that you might want to visit that you think would help you with your particular challenge, whether that's a type of recycling facility like Come Environmental, we've taken people to before, or a health board, for argument's sake, if you want to look at some of the challenges health boards got in terms of their waste streams or in terms of some of their operating challenges, we can arrange that. It all depends really on the group and what you would find of value. And we run a conference or an impact network event at the end of each program, so that you can share with others what you've achieved and the challenges that you've had, meet others, and we'll bring both the Cardiff and the Swansea cohorts together so that you can meet each other and share those challenges and good practice stories. And we'd hope if it's a new service solution you want to develop or a new product, then we can introduce you to funders in the form of Welsh Government, RAP, UKRI, or the Small Business Research Institute. Again, depending on what the group are working on, each individual organisation, we can then tailor those people that we bring in based on what you're looking to achieve. So hopefully that gives you an outline of the programme. We can talk about specific details. You probably noticed in the last slide that we had this little ellipse that with a community of practice. What we do is form our cohorts into communities of practice, and a community of practice is a group of people that share similar challenges, that are comfortable to work with each other in both a critical friend type relationship. So, you know, they can say, well, tell us about what you're doing, and oh yeah, that's a similar challenge for me, and how have you overcome that? So it's that peer learning approach that we adopt, which benefits you as individuals, but also obviously as businesses. You then start to understand each other's challenges and potentially can work together, and we find that on a lot of our programs. So all of the exercises during that 2-day innovation dynamics residential are challenges that help you understand aspects of innovation dynamics as we describe them, and you learn some of those dynamics, some of those challenges through these experiential exercises, and we ask you to reflect on them as a group, reflect on them as an individual, and reflect on how they apply to your context, so that you can then more fully understand the innovation process and how you can start to apply some of the tools we introduce you to on that 2 days back in your organisation in the workplace. So I'm conscious we've got a couple of short clips to show you to bring some of that rather dry presentation to life. So what I'm going to do is, rather than click the link there, I had them set up earlier so that we don't have to watch the YouTube ads. So hopefully.
Hi, I'm Faye Ward. I'm Wastewater Research and Innovation Manager at Water. The reason why I decided to join the CEIC group was because as part of my role in innovation, circular economy is really important. It's something that we strive to achieve in Welsh Water moving forward. The group that I was part of was the water quality cohort, and we were looking at developing water quality monitoring for various stakeholders across Wales. We all know that water is really, really important to everybody. We can't survive without it. So we need to monitor it and make sure that it's safe and regenerated for the generations to come. Our biggest achievement so far has been the relationships, I think, that we've built up together. So it's really good to have those key contacts within those groups that have similar challenges to us. We've also worked quite closely with Cardiff University to develop a passive sensor, which is low cost. And we have implemented a test site where we're trialling this sensor to understand water quality and how that could work for us moving forward. So actually having a sort of a pilot out in the environment has been a really good achievement, I think, in the group. The benefits of working in a community of practice have been that we understand other people's ways of working. We understand that other people are doing very similar things to everybody else, but we kind of perhaps are working in silos. So it's good to kind of cross-pollinate and understand what other people are doing and how we can work together.
Gary, you muted yourself and the video.
Knowledge sharing platforms or lunch and learns. I've also used the brainstorming technique in a workshop to be able to look at potential smart network ideas. I've just really enjoyed being part of the cohort and meeting like-minded people and feeling the passion that everybody has to achieve something like a circular economy. Even though circular economy is very difficult to define in one instance, it's clear that people understand how it works in their situation and how we can work together to achieve circular economy in the future.
Okay, that was one which I thought would be of interest. Obviously, Faye talking about the values she's had from the programme. And we'll just show you one more quick one before we sort of round up and give opportunity.
My name is Neil Evans. I'm Corporate Energy Officer for Carmarthenshire County Council. I'm standing outside County Hall in Carmarthen at the moment. And in the last year or so, the University of Swansea and Metropolitan University Cardiff have begun collaborating on a circular economy programme. And my day-to-day job is dealing with the utilities and reduce the amount of energy we use in our buildings. You know, it struck me that there's a lot of materials around here in our locality that can be formed into insulation materials. The obvious thing that sprang to mind immediately, pretty soon, was that, why don't we use wool as an insulator? The plan is to take all of this natural insulation from our own farms or from Carmarthenshire farms failing our own farms, and we'll simply put it above the main chamber. That will trap a significant amount of the heat within the chamber. That'll cut down the need for the radiators to operate as much as they normally do, and thereby reduce our energy consumption. I hope we make the chamber a far more comfortable place for our councillors to meet and debate.
So the CEIC project has been a catalyst for us here in Carmarthenshire to work with academia and experts in the private sector to develop real innovative prototypes of projects that we can now deliver possibly at scale in the future. Wales once led the world into the Industrial Revolution, and I'm sure projects such as CEIC will help us lead the world into the Green Revolution.
We've been working with Neil and his colleagues at Carmarthenshire to source Carmarthenshire wool into the County Hall chambers. It's been a very exciting project to be a part of. There was a need for a product that was 100% Welsh sheep's wool insulation. We can source our wool with the guarantee that the money extra, the premium we pay for our wool, will directly go back to the farmers. By using the traceability scheme, we are able to provide a fairer return for a natural product. Wool is a fantastic insulator. We've had some really good tests back on the Welsh wool in particular that put it higher than any other blend of wool. It stands to reason. They live on the Welsh hills. They are fantastic at insulating. And that's really important because not only does insulation keep heat in the colder months, it actually works the opposite way around and keeps heat out during the summer months. In Wales, we produce over 6 million kilos of wool every year, and by using it in the construction sector, we will be using large volumes of Welsh wool and helping decarbonise the indoor built environment with a product that is natural, sustainable and renewable.
Okay, hopefully those were of value and of interest. So the qualitative data from the programme, we've got 21, I think, case studies now up on the website that are detailing the impact that the groups have had that have worked on developing different solutions that have a circular economy principle embedded within them. Some data in front of you in terms of the stats, quantitative stats from participants on the programme and the value that they've seen in terms of working with us and taking part in the programme. What we wanted to do as part of the CEIC programme was to develop what we would describe as a circular economy ecosystem. In order for a circular economy or for a region or a country like Wales to transition to a circular economy, you need an ecosystem. You need different actors across the region, firstly with an understanding of circular economy principles, and then aware of capabilities that exist within that region and some of the challenges. So a challenge or a potential problem was the value or the lack of value of sheep's wool. That was something that one of the participants from Carmarthen was aware of, and so he's looked at developing a product from that relatively low value item that can provide value in terms of an insulation product, and actually be a cheaper insulation product than what they currently buy, and also less environmental impact in terms of that sheep's wool product. So 191 people took part in the programme over the last couple of years, 81 organisations. So you'd be joining that ecosystem in taking part in the programme. And obviously, depending on what you look at, we can link you to others within the ecosystem that are doing similar things or have looked at similar challenges. We'll send a copy of these slides out, which obviously contain our contact details, also some publications in terms of reports that we've written, and we also developed what we described as a circular economy capability development matrix that lists programs, videos, case studies that explain the circular economy, both in short formats, so very short videos of 2 to sort of 5 minutes that you could share with everyone in your organisation, down to quite detailed reports around specific areas of for example, managing materials or managing energy consumption, etc. And we've also got a report on the website that details other businesses in Wales that have implemented circular economy principles, which has allowed them to increase their revenue and often reduce their costs whilst reducing their carbon footprint. As I say, we'll share that, but I'm conscious of the time. I said we tried to get through the presentation in about half an hour so that we could move to talking and allowing you to talk and go to the questions. So I'll stop presenting for a minute, but I can go back to any of the slides if anybody wants to ask specific questions about the slides. But yeah, please do fire away. Any questions or thoughts, comments? Stephen, fire away.
Thanks, Gary. Yeah, really interesting to hear. So just quick perspective of where of my context of being on the call. So I've got 2 hats actually, and my colleague Sue might represent the work we do as an agency, which might be a support area for you guys on this. But my other hat, so I'm one of the directors in the Wellbeing Economy Cymru group, so part of the Wellbeing Economy Alliance. So I just quickly was WhatsApping them to check if there's any existing relationship with you guys already going. I've also talked to Owen at CELSA as well about the work that he's been doing. So he's coming up to one of our forums for We Cymru, and he's also talked to us at UMP about potential services we can support him with. But I think so with my Wellbeing Economy Cymru hat on, so our purpose is to establish an understanding across eventually the wider population. There's a different way of measuring success in an economy than straightforward productivity and consumption. Yep. And there are lots of filters across that make it complicated as a message to get across when everybody's comfortable going, oh, well, it's just GDP, so why do we want anything more complex than that? So we are really getting good traction with the Future Generations Office, and we've been invited by the Welsh Government to comment on their new renewed economic mission as well, and we've suggested getting involved in definition of how you measure a well-being economy. So what I'm thinking is that whatever the journey you guys are on here, it would be great to parallel track and see how we can kind of jointly support, and maybe get one of you guys as a speaker at one of our forums, or at least get your information out into our forums, because we tend to look at topic areas like we've just done something on tourism in Wales. We had housing before that. We've done food. We've done business, which Owen was at. We've done We've even done one on behaviour change, done arts and culture, we've done well-being and physical and mental well-being. But within all of that, we've got a mix of public service representatives, influencers, and private. So I think it just feels like hooking in with you guys and trying to find areas of mutual support might be worth doing. I don't know if any of our work is familiar with what you've done so far.
Yes, I've come across you, and I think we're a member. Can't remember who I talked to.
We don't kind of run membership per se, but it's great to hear you say you're a member, because I feel
we certainly sort of had conversations when we started the program a couple of years ago. When I say member, I think we got a link on your website back to you and back, that reciprocal link. Obviously, the circular economy fits within a well-being economics model, or some would say it works. It can work the other way around as well. So, I'm a proponent or advocate of Raworth's donut economics, donut model, which is very similar to what you're suggesting or what you're driving at. So, absolutely, yes, there's definitely value in a collaborative approach, and happy to help where we can and present. The program that we've designed is there to help people develop innovation capability so they can implement ideas, whether it's foundational economy, whether it's circular economy, within their organization to future-proof them, but also to understand that there are principles, and one of the key principles with circular economy is that we do have this linear approach at the moment, which is obviously not helping the planet and not helping us. So that's the way that the program's designed, and it's designed as a community so that we get people understanding that and then staying part of that community. So potentially starting to collaborate, whether that's in terms of just knowledge exchange or more formal potential supply situations, etc.
And so just so from a practical point of view, when we've got our groups and our sessions once a month at a Thursday evening, typically once a month, I've got anywhere between kind of 30 and 100 people coming along to it. They're getting pretty well attended. If we're pitching the opportunity for them to apply or make an expression of interest and looking at application form, is it funded? Do they have to fund it? It's
fully funded.
Wow. Okay, that's amazing.
Yeah, there's very few opportunities for fully funded programs.
Wow.
We've probably got 15, close to 20 similar videos that I've just shown. So that's the reason Welsh Government have funded us to continue that impetus that we've built up. And we're hopeful that we'll get shared prosperity funding so we can continue beyond the end of this year. And we've got some very, very positive noises. So we're quite confident. We're very confident that we'll be continuing, but we can't announce yet because we need to understand the picture right across South Wales before we sort of announce next phase.
So immediate thought, and I'll shut up, let everybody else have a say, is that I'll catch up with you afterwards if you don't mind, Gary, and then find a way of maybe even doing a little 30-second video clip that we can drop into all of our forums, so you're not taking up your time as well. There might be different ways of kind of getting the message across, because it would be brilliant. One of the things that we believe is that a wellbeing economy is already happening in Wales. It's not about trying to go top down and here's a strategic initiative from the government to change everything. It's already happening. And I think this is a great example of that. Yeah,
and in essence, that's what we're trying to do with this. I know it's a bit of an academic term. The CE ecosystem is connect people that are trying, that are actually delivering. Firstly, for that knowledge transfer element, and secondly, you do need an ecosystem to create that transition.
Yeah,
brilliant. So more than happy with that. You can share any of the videos. I think they're really useful in telling the story, telling the impact, and demonstrating that you can deliver both value regionally, as the Sheepswell one does, and deliver a similar quality product.
Do you mind dropping your email into the chat, Gary, just so I've got that for reference?
Yeah, sure.
Cheers. Thank you.
Any other questions? Megan, I'm conscious I didn't say hello. I think you came in just after I started speaking, so hello and thanks for joining us. I think I briefly said hello to both Suze and Sai, who is the most punctual.
Yeah, you did. Thank you, and apologies for being a few minutes late. But thank you for taking a moment to say hello. Appreciate it.
No, you're welcome. It's nice for people to join.
Yeah, I didn't have any other questions, Gary. Actually, Stephen asked one of mine, which was, is it funded or not? Which actually does lead me to think, and I'm sure this is on your website, but how does one go about? Is it competitive? Getting on the program? Is there sort of an application process, etc.? How does that work?
There is an application process. There'll be a link in the slides we'll share via PDF after this. What I'd say is get on as soon as possible. We had a narrow window to recruit these two particular cohorts, so we still have a couple of spaces left. So I'd say, yeah, get on and complete the expression of interest as soon as possible. But with the eligibility criteria aren't overly onerous, I'd say.
And if you can just look on our website, it says apply now at the top. Just click that button and it opens up a form. It's very simple. Then we'll get back in touch with you.
Thank you.
Oh, and apologies for turning the sound off earlier. I had to sneeze, and so I didn't think you wanted to hear that. Question from Megan. Currently, we have funding for a programme in the Cardiff Capital region, as described, a 6-month programme, and one in Swansea Bay. We don't have definite funding to run again yet. We're hopeful, and based on some of the data that we've got that demonstrates impact and the short videos we've tried to commission that tell a story that demonstrates the impact, we're hoping to get further funding, but nothing in place yet that we can share. We've applied to all of the shared prosperity fund pots across all of the local authorities in South Wales that have advertised them, and you might know or you might not, they advertise them in slightly different ways with different deadlines, with different application forms. So that's why, yeah, we can't be too definitive yet. So if you can, jump on the next one, is the suggestion, Megan. Question.
Sorry, after you. Sorry.
I was just going to say you have your hand up. Sorry, I'm just going to direct Gary over. We hadn't seen before.
Okay. Gary, thanks very much for the introduction. It is fantastic, and I particularly like the sheep's wool example, which is great news for the building architecture industry. I come from the design industry myself, and it's fantastic because I'm working on promoting natural building materials in the construction industry, particularly retrofit, etc. I have signed up for the program. I know it's going to be expansive, but I just had a quick question relating to that. Do you aim to come up with a theme during the process for the group, or is it sort of exploring individual ideas as well, and then and supporting them? And then secondly, if there are individual ideas that come up during this process, what sort of funding availabilities there are, opportunities there are to take those ideas forward within the circular economy, please? Thank you.
You're welcome. Thanks for the question. In terms of the challenge that you want to work on, Generally, we'd like to support every organisation, business, to work on what we would describe as a clean growth plan, which means basically implementing circular economy principles in either one of your products or one of your services, or across the business. And obviously, it depends on the size and on whether you can do it across the business within a short program. Groups. We had in the previous program in CEIC, we often had 2 or 3 people from each or one organisation come in, so they form small groups. In the case of FAE and Welsh Water were in discussions with Natural Resource Wales, and obviously they tried to collaborate. So they both had a challenge that was around water monitoring in some places, and the local authority Merthyr and Torfaen were also looking at some of their mine water. So a small group formed there to look at active water, passive water sensors. And that was simply because we had we were promoting the program, and we had people in a session like this who said, oh, actually, that's something that I'm looking at as well. So that's how the group formed. In this program, we anticipate businesses coming in with at least 1 person, maybe 2 or 3, and we anticipate them working on a problem or challenge that's specific to that business. And to answer your funding question, hopefully I've answered your, you don't have to work in a group. We expect you to work on a challenge that's for the business. In terms of funding, yes, there are funding mechanisms. So Welsh Government have an innovation fund at the moment, which has another third that you can add on to that called Smart Flexible Support, if there's a circular economy element to that new product or new service that you're looking at. So we can introduce Welsh Gov. There are various UKRI pots, and there's sort of rolling calls on some and more specific calls on others, so we can make you aware of those as they come up. We can introduce you, or we will introduce the Small Business Research Initiative. So you can post a challenge with them, which they might fund, depending on if that fits with their challenges, some of their grand challenges. We're working closely with the Cardiff Capital Fund, who've just recently announced a food challenge area. So for argument's sake, if any of you are in the food business, then we'd direct you to Gareth and that pot of money, but they will have other calls as well. So we'll give you a general introduction to that fund. And each of the local authorities we're trying to work closer with, and some of them took part in CEIC. So some of them have shared prosperity money, and they're doing slightly different things in different local authorities. So we'll try to gather that intelligence together and present to you. I know, for argument's sake, one of the businesses that we've previously worked with have recently got, roughly speaking, 10K from Rhondda and Taff, because there was a certain call or opportunity for a grant around machinery, but they're all doing it differently, I'm afraid. So depending on what you're looking at, we should be able to introduce a funder that might be able to help.
And Si, just for clarity, Gary, thanks. Si, my name's Tony Burnett. I'm the program manager for Swansea Bay region, and I've been talking to. You're part of that group from Llanelli, aren't you?
That's right. I've been introduced to this program through Foothold Cymru, and I recently engaged with them on the Llanelli Zero Waste project, and so we are churning out ideas. And I can elaborate on the idea, but sorry. That's
that's cool. We'll get into your idea later, Gary. What we're doing there is I'm just talking to a group of organisations in and around Llanelli town in Carmarthenshire, because they've got a project to actually make Llanelli a zero waste town. So there's private third sector crossover going on with a group, almost a challenge group there. It's quite interesting, I think.
Oh, brilliant! And
nice to meet you, sir. We'll talk later.
Nice to meet you too.
We did a lot of that as Tony, as the colleagues would know, on the last programme, encouraged groups to come in. It gives you the time, obviously, to spend together, and we introduce you to tools and techniques that you can learn collaboratively that you then apply to the solution. And then ideally as well, we introduce you to funders. So yeah, the wool initiative is the wool example is a good example, because we helped introduce various people, but obviously technical resource at the university as well helped overcome some of the initial barriers to the idea of sheep's wool as an insulation product.
Excellent, thank you.
There's a question from Meg on the one-to-one mentoring. Yeah, that'll be delivered by Compass, who do that, an awful lot of that, and you can pull that down whenever you want. There's 3 sessions. They're designed to sort of help you through some of the challenges that you might have in terms of implementation, and a bit of one-to-one support. Does that answer that question, Meg? By all means, elaborate if yeah, we can share what we got here from Susan, I think. Yes, we can share services that you've got. Yeah. Okay, looks like I answered the question, Meg. Complete the expression of interest, and then what we do is get in touch once you complete the expression of interest, and obviously we've got a bit more detail on you then. We can talk you through the programme and eligibility criteria, etc. Another question, Si, or is that hand up from last time?
Sorry, sorry, Gary. No question. I don't know how to switch off the raised hand, so that's why
No,
it's still on. Sorry.
I think you just press it again. Look.
Oh, really? Okay.
Real time is phrase we use on the program is test and learn. So yeah, you press it again and it goes back down. I'm more of a Zoom fan myself, so I often but Teams is more universally used, so we tend to run these on Teams, and yeah, I often struggle with some of the things. Any other questions? We will be sending a copy of the slides out in PDF. There are plenty of examples on the website. There's another one that I was going to talk through in brief, but that will be on the slides, more on the website, that might be more specific to you, depending on your organisation. So yeah, any questions, thoughts, by all means get in touch. The email addresses, I've put mine in the chat. The email addresses are on the website and on the slides that you'll receive. And yeah, complete the application form or the expression of interest. I think that's only 6 questions, and we can take it from there. Yes, Megan. So depending on where you're based, the foundation day in the East, the Cardiff group, will be the 17th. I think it's the 19th actually for Swansea. I think Lane.
Yes, it is 19th.
Yeah, 19th for Swansea. Which Tony will tell us where that's taking place. I think it's in. Is it in Swansea?
It's in the National Botanic Gardens. The first event.
It's in Llanelli.
So yeah, 20 minutes from Swansea, isn't it? That's what it is.
Okay, so if no further questions, we'll close off there. If anything comes to you after the session, by all means, get in touch. We'll send the slides out as mentioned, and look forward to hearing from you or potentially working with you. Please do share the slides with anyone that you think might be interested, and particularly if you've got other organisations or businesses that you work with in your supply chain, or that you'd like to be within your supply chain, that you think would like to work on a common challenge.
Thanks very much, Gary. Appreciate it.
Thanks very much.
Welcome. Bye for now.
Yep.